Gina's a complete crazy person. She wants to remake this into something by her trip. Today is Thursday. I just got this trailer and she wants to make it amazing or something by Saturday.
Video, I mean, the opposite of a picture. Another project, right?
Yep.
So it looks like now. Show me.
Look at this lovely rustic.
Oh, it's rustic.
Yeah.
They tried to tell me I had good bones.
So the first thing we did is we started pressure washing the frame, and right away we just saw paint flaking off. Just by scraping and pressure washing, we were able to get off all of this paint. Now I can stand up in it.
Yeah. This is like your album cover. It's called Overalls. I'm Weird. There we go. There's our other project. Don't tell anyone, but listen to its advice. Live and travel. How would you do it? You couldn't.
Next, we figured out how to remove the plywood panels on the roof and the walls, and that way we were able to see what the frame really looked like and start working on it and reinforcing it. We wanted to increase the stability of the trailer while we were parked, so I ordered some stabilizing jacks off of Amazon, and as soon as we got them, Jet put the trailer up on its side since it was a lot lighter without all the panels, and he started attaching them. This ended up being an especially good decision because later, as you'll see in this video, we ended up putting a rooftop tent that we happen to have on top of this trailer. The dimensions of our rooftop tent turned out to be a bit longer than the trailer, so Jet decided to weld an extension onto the back of the roof using some box metal that we had off of an old bed frame.
If it seems like Gina's not around, I assure you that's not because she's not working. She's doing the woodwork. I know how to weld and she doesn't yet. Don't tell her, but once she knows how to weld, I'll have nothing to do. So that's just why you don't see her for right now.
While he was doing this, I was working on salvaging the usable plywood and adding additional layers of paint from leftover colors we already had on hand. I decided to choose 2 separate colors because this way it would be a lot easier to reinstall the panels and know which side faced in and which side faced out.
So this is like an 11-year-old Harbor Freight trailer, and they only bolt them together at the warehouse. So what I did is I welded the frame to really increase the stability on the road, but also when we're in the rooftop tent. It made a major difference. So if you can weld, or you have a friend who can, I definitely recommend doing this to anything you buy that has just bolts.
What are you doing, Gina? Are you partying? Is this your Saturday night party?
Yeah.
Yeah? You welding?
I am not welding.
You are welding.
No, I have not learned.
You will. Once you do, you'll take over the world.
You guys probably think I'm joking about this because I talk about it a lot, but there is no skill set that I had when I started working with Gina that she hasn't gotten better than me at. So please, in the comments, talk about how hard welding is and how bad it is for you, and we just need to convince her not to do it, because the minute she gets that torch in her hand, she's going to be better at everything than I am, and I'll, have to find a new family. So please help me out.
A major part of this build was changing the design of the front of the trailer. We wanted to increase the storage space by utilizing the area above the yoke, but didn't want to just bolt on a cargo box to the front like you see on a lot of other trailers. So we settled on this design that is a lot like what they call a windjammer.
The Windjammer is actually the name of a trailer they sell out there. They have cargo ones and ones that are campers. And we were kind of copying that design, just having that thrust at the front. And that had 2 purposes. One was the stability, because we're getting all that extra metal, as you can see right now, that's just going to shore up the frame. It also gave us something that Gina mentioned that I thought was really cool, and that is we're not just throwing cargo boxes on the front like we have in the past and most Overland trailers do. We have a through and through, so that means that we can take kayaks in here that were up to 7 feet long and bring them all the way in. That made a huge difference because we didn't have to put those on the FJ, and that really helped us in getting way better gas mileage.
Once we were done fabricating the front, Jet started reinforcing all the welds that were there before because they weren't really done thoroughly. They were more spot welded, and we wanted to make sure that it was really stable because we were going to be putting a good amount of weight on the top.
After this portion, the major welding was done, so it was time to start putting the panels back, and the only wood we actually had to purchase was for the front, so it's off to Lowe's. This is Lowe's hardware store. We felt we needed to prove it to you, so we put this footage in. We are not sponsored by Lowe's, but if they want to sponsor us, we'd be happy to have them.
Now, I was totally prepared to cut the wood there in the parking lot, and I actually brought one of our circular saws. Turned out that the battery didn't work, even though it was fully charged. So we went back in, and they actually have a machine there that can cut it for you. So that's a tip. If you need wood cut and you know the exact dimensions, it's way better to just have it done in store. With all the metal work finally done, we were ready to paint the frame. It was easier to do this before we put the panels back on, because then we didn't have to tape anything off. So I just went over the entire thing with a Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer, which has some rust inhibitor in it. And then I was going to use another color on top of it, but Jet really liked the color of the primer, so we just decided to do another coat of that and leave that as the final finish.
There's so many benefits to working on a light trailer, but one of the biggest was being able to put it up here on this frame so that we could do the electrical work without having to crawl underneath. We pretty much had to redo all the electrical and even put in some new side indicator lights in all these trailers. The biggest thing you have to do is reestablish the ground wires because they just are never good.
So here is where the trailer is finally starting to become whole again. We took the old pieces of plywood that I'd repainted and put them back inside. You can see how the orange plays really well with that brown of the Rust-Oleum paint. And then on the interior, I'd used a light color, so that way it's light and bright and you don't really need too much additional light to help you find anything on the interior of the trailer. We also had some really great wood that my mom had found off of another bed frame, coincidentally that day, and I used that to shore up the sides and create some more rigidity against that plywood.
I have resisted thus far going into the philosophy of trailer building, but one of those things is Gina is far better at woodwork than I am, so I stick with welding, she does the woodwork. Know what it is you're strong at and do that if you're building something that's going to be on the road.
Just in case you're getting overwhelmed with all this trailer building, here's a shot of Bo helping to put our car cover on. How cute is she?
This is a top-of-the-line rooftop tent we got last year at wholesale because we're thinking about selling them, and we really liked it. We've had 3 before this, but it was very hot. So what we did is we painted the top white, just like the FJ is, so that we wouldn't get as hot when the sun hit us in the morning.
Once the paint was dry, it was time to put the rooftop tent onto the trailer, finally, at long last. Getting it up there, the thing's kind of heavy, so that was tough to begin with. But then after that, mounting it was even more of a challenge. So we had to prop it up on one side, line up and drill holes from underneath, and then do the same exact thing in reverse. So it was a lot of just back and forth.
I think it's time for one of those pro tips you always hear about on YouTube. Even though the tires it came with had plenty of tread and looked new, they were old. Those are 2 ways to judge tires. If the tread looks good and you put the penny on it and you go, oh, wow, this is perfect, you may be wrong. I looked at the date and these are 11-year-old tires. They were not good to go. So I just spent less than $150, got new tires and wheels at Harbor Freight, and I was far better off. I didn't have to think about it. Always err on the side of caution when it comes to tires, and anything you buy used that you question, just replace it.
Hey Gina, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just tell me. It's not anything weird, is it?
No, it's my husband's idea.
Oh, who's your husband? This looks like a bunch of shoes in a kayak. Oh my god. It's like there are a bunch of little villagers on the Titanic. If the Titanic contained villagers instead of the world's 1%. Anyway, I guess we should make a new Titanic. This is beautiful. It's the shoe boat. Look at Fox. Look how excited Fox is. Fox, do you like the Bunda shoe? The Bunda shoe? She's like, I like being swaddled, but I'm hot.
Gina's supposed to be testing the lights and she turns on the windshield wiper.
Yeah.
We all do it and it's always funny.
Yep.
So after 5 long days and about 6 nights, we finally got it on the road. It towed like a dream. The wind had nothing on it. I even got to sleep in it one night because Gina said she doesn't sleep in the same bed with substandard welders. So that was fun.
I love how Jet mentions that so nonchalantly. So yes, there was one night where Jet slept in the trailer and I slept with Falcor above him in the rooftop tent. We weren't in a fight or anything like that. It's just that with the rooftop tent, as great as it is, I am almost 5'10", and Jet is 6'1". So if you're on the taller side, a full-size rooftop tent is a little bit small, especially when you throw in a dog.
As usual, of course, Gina's being very nice by saying she didn't kick me out. She had to kick me out because instead of showering, I went into the river and used a trout like it was soap because I saw it in a cartoon once. I hope you guys enjoyed watching as much as we enjoyed building it.
If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, because our builds will only get more interesting, more rare, and more unique as we go along.
Leave any questions you have in the comments and we'll make sure and get back to you.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.